Now we're moving on to talk about how this new administration, I mean, the president is has set up his cabinet actually, but what agenda can we set to ensure that employees and the workplace is safer? Well, we have our minister, safety minister here, right here to tell us and calibrate this discussion. He is engineer, he's also a doctor. Emmanuel UWALAKA, the Regional Administrator, OSH Association UK, Nigeria. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you so much for
Good morning and welcome once more to Asa Morning.
Thank you so much.
Okay, great. So new ministerial positions and portfolios have been given out, and then there are certain areas that Nigerians will be expecting to see the highest standard of safety. Aviation, transportation in general, labor, productivity, offices and stuff like that. But let's start with aviation, because aviation accidents are huge accidents. We're seeing a younger person in there. He's not a technocrat to say that he's a pilot or something. But what kind of reforms would we expect to see when we're talking about putting health and safety standards in the aviation sector? And then we can move over to the other sectors of the transport system where we expect certain kinds of intervention from this government.
Yes, thank you so much. Just as you said earlier, you know, combing the issues of accidents in various industries have been a major case, and a lot of regulators have also been battling with this before now, even ministries and all that. So, for example, the aviation industry, lately you will see that there have been a whole lot of issues, you know, even in the ministries and also in the public aviation passengers operators. You know, there have been a whole lot of issues. I think with this new administration, they can achieve a lot if they can review the policies in place. You know, the policies in place need to be reviewed, and also ensuring the safety of Nigerians, you know, applying some of these flights in and out. You know, we have entered these flights so many times. You see so many issues that we tell you, okay, we can't even go any longer because of one technical issue. These are safety issues. You know, these are safety issues, and not only that, even the environment in terms of the airport environment, in terms of the welfare and facilities that need to be in place within the airport. I remember sometime during the previous administration, our institution took a strong march to the MD of HAN to see how we can ensure safety of passengers, which is also very key and very, very critical. We have seen accidents, incidents occurring within the airport environment, where you see people slump. You know, a woman just slumped some time ago. You know, the issue of slumping have not been one, have not been second. So these are issues of safety.
No, but before you go further, you just talked about a woman slumping. Isn't that maybe on health issues from the person? Is it something that the company,
the aviation industry, should be held responsible for?
Not really holding responsible for, but having emergency
I get your point. Of course,
in place.
Of course,
you know, because for you, for example, I'm here, and the way it should be and the standards of how it should be is that every workplace must provide a safe working environment, both for the employees, both for the visitors, both for the contractors.
I agree with you.
You are whole responsible for whatsoever happens to any individual within your facility. But
let's come down to the transport sector, where most Nigerians use on a regular. Exactly. If you go to our transport stations, first of all, I find it very disappointing that it's in a state of deplore. You don't see standard, conventional, clean. Even in the same parks, there are people selling alcohol with different names, herbal this, herbal that. You see drivers drinking, no control measures. The rate of accidents over the past 6 months, if you're looking at the statistics in Nigeria, has actually increased. Abuja, not accepted for me too, because I believe that we have so many good roads in Abuja, so everybody's flying around, you know, and then they're throwing caution to the wind. that's a part of transportation that quite a number of Nigerians use. You see vehicles overloaded, 2 people in front, 4 people at the back, especially with the crunch with fuel. So you understand that they have to meet up to their daily intake at the detriment of human safety.
Yeah.
How can we also look at that aspect of transportation and say, look, drastic reforms need to be taken in this place? And what kind of reforms would you suggest are taken for that sector?
Coming into road transportation, you just said it all, you know. When you enter some of these parks, whether within Abuja, even across states, you will see so many issues happening within the parks. It's because we don't have a very proactive regulators in terms of managing the operators, the vehicle owners, and also managing the environment and all that. I think this new administration need to really sit up to, just as you say, reform, you know, to review policies in place. You know, we can't just continue like that. Year in, year out, nothing is happening. So I think it's good time for the Minister of Transportation to be able to call stakeholders within that very sector, within the parks, within the unions, or the union leaders, you know, bring them into stakeholders meeting to discuss issues. I remember some time years back when the issues of people have accidents in road transportation and nobody can be able to identify who's on the floor. No identity, no manifesto. So at a time after much, you know, battle and order, that was resolved. Now no vehicle moves without the manifesto. So that is not enough. Coming back to issues of maintenance of this vehicle, coming back to the issues of policies. I remember sometime in the UK I have to apply just for this case of survey. I have to apply from London to Manchester, which is about 5 hours plus. You can be able to see the movement, you see the transition, the stopover for everybody to walk around, knowing fully well that is a long time journey and all that, you know. And you see how a lot of programs put in place, comforts, even in that long journey. Yes, somebody traveling from Abuja to Lagos, maybe they get to Kogi and already have to stand by and within short, more or less like the same way it is in the UK. But when you look at the environment, when you look at the roads, you know, all these things are the factors that are contributing to the high rate of death and accidents. We have human errors. Like in safety, we have what we call unsafe attitude and unsafe conditions. Unsafe conditions are those conditions that pose hazard, that pose risk, that are constituting issues of accident, resulting to accident. For example, the bad roads, gallops, potholes, sharp corners without identification, without signals. These are unsafe conditions. Then unsafe attitude, we are not talking of bad behaviors of the drivers. Their characters, behavioral safety, drinking, you know, shining their eyes to see clearly. Not
Is that what they call it? Exactly. Shining their eyes.
Yes, they have to shine their eyes.
Engineer UWALAKA.
Not knowing that they are going to kill themselves and kill others. So these are issues.
And others at risk.
Exactly.
But let's move a little away from the transportation. Like she mentioned in the opening, we just saw this recent trend of elevators. And believe it or not, my younger sister was trapped in an elevator about 3 days ago. I remember reading a tweet from
3 days ago.
3 days ago,
okay.
Here in Abuja, in one of the plazas, very popular plaza. I also read a tweet a couple of days ago as well from the
like I saw that.
Yes, from the former presidential candidate Moralu, who was trapped in an elevator for 30 minutes. This is coming after the unfortunate incident
of the lady,
in Lagos,
the doctor,
the Lagos State Hospital.
Yeah.
So elevators have come to the limelight.
Yes.
What do you say should be done immediately?
Use the steps.
No.
I'm joking, but it's worrisome. I did it yesterday.
Yeah.
I was so scared, Joy.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Let's hear the experts.
Above everything, who is complacent is this? Who should be meted any form of punitive measures? Is it the company that has not done the regular maintenance, or it is the owners of the elevator or the sellers? I'm not sure. So what should Nigerians know, and how can Nigerians protect themselves?
With this high level of elevators issues, it's like we have entered the elevator
season
of,
yes,
of accidents and so many cases.
I agree.
You know, so I think in this issue, it's very, very simple. In fact, that is the simplest case when it comes to issues of safety. Just like what he said, there are so many factors affecting that singular incident. One, maintenance culture. We don't have very good maintenance culture in Nigeria. And if you want to dig it in or dig it down, to evaluate further, you will be able to understand that possibly the economy, or maybe the economy is contributing to that. Because you want to tell somebody, change your tires, the tires of your vehicles, do this. You want to tell organizations, you know, you have to service your elevator, you have to do this, you have to do that. Some of these things are capital intensive, quite all right, but you can't compare it to the loss of lives, bad reputation, litigations, and so many issues that will trickle out of it. So there is need for organizations to be able to start putting in place proactive technical maintenance team in place, who need to carry out periodic assessment, audit, and service the equipment when necessary and when due.
Okay.
Because that is the main issue. Now, when you discover, based on inspection, that this elevator is malfunctioning or maybe misbehaving in one way or the other, then you have to shut it down, and people have to use alternative than leaving it for people to manage and praying before they enter the lift.
It's
getting
really unfortunate
inside it. So is the issue of maintenance, the maintenance culture of so many organizations are very bad. Even the issue of fire extinguishers, equipment, and so many of these things, you hardly see where these things are maintained, except some few consigned organizations. So these are issues. The elevators need to be serviced. The issue of the Lagos own, they were able to even identify that it's not working fine or it's not working well, but they failed to do the needful by putting a signage not to be used,
yes, out of
use, and shut it down, but they keep using it, managing it, and I heard over time that had been a reported case to management, possibly the issue of management, because these are issues. I was talking about the issue some time ago, where I told people that people are part of hazards that need to be well managed. Organizations are also part of hazards that need to be well managed. Because when you fail to do the needful as an organization, then you are killing people. As an employer, when you fail to do the needful to ensure the safety of your workers, you are a killer.
Exactly. You're just as bad as anybody.
Indirectly.
But what is the law doing? Because part of Joy's question was who should be held liable, and it's not just related to the
elevators,
related to just the elevators, but in every sector in Nigeria, in the workspace, transportation, wherever it is where there are health and safety issues. The question now remains: how effective has the law been for Nigerians seeking redress? How effective has the law been prosecuting organizations, corporations, sectors that have violated health and safety management systems? How effective has the law also been in giving people redress when they have hazard from workplaces, or like the family that lost their daughter in that elevator? Are they going to compensate? Are they going to pay for? Yes, there should be some kind of insurances, life insurance and stuff like that, that organizations should be signing up for their staff. So what role is the law playing to support and enhance this?
I believe possibly we have to also pray that the new administration will do something.
You know, when people use that word prayer, it really kind of like, we're still praying.
I'm telling you, because that is what we are used to.
Apart from prayers,
Instead of
what
doing
else?
the needful, we have to pray.
No, what else can we do that is more substantial? I mean, I'm not,
These are
I'm not
legal
undermining
issues.
prayers. I'm just
These
saying.
are government rules. The government have to sit up to, you know, put the policies in place. I have said this some time ago that we have a bill still pending down in National Assembly. That is a national bill.
What's the bill about?
The OSH bill. If the OSH bill can be put,
You have to
into
make it
action.
simpler for everybody to understand
yes,
what
when we talk of
organizational-
OSH bill, we are talking
Yes,
of occupational safety and health bill.
I know what it is. That's what
Yeah.
but I want people to
The
hear.
occupational safety and health bill have to be passed by the law. Inside that bill have everything we are seeking for to ensure the safety of Nigerians, to ensure compliance, to ensure fine and sanctions. And that is the way it is, according to the ILO conventions. Nigeria is yet to align accordingly, according to international best practice. So I believe and I hope that the new administration, the 10th Assembly, will be able to do the needful to pass that bill into law. That is when we cannot see agency of government responsible for formulation, for regulation, for policy management of issues of health and safety in all sectors. So when things like this go wrong, they can sanction, they can fine, they can move whoever to court.
Right.
And get justice where necessary. But now, it's very difficult. Yes, I understood so well. I have been in the committee where we have taken some companies to the Senate, you know, where they have to, the Senate have to call social company into order. But, you know, it seems that some of those actions are not really giving the expected result as required. So the bill have to come into play to be able to address these critical issues of compensation, critical issues of sanction and close hand of organization as it is in the Western world, in the US. You can't try it. Just keep killing people. No, because we are talking of elevator. What is elevator? We can't be just talking of everything. It's just one policy addresses everything. Maintenance culture. Bringing a checklist to carry out your maintenance, fire extinguishers, suppression systems,
Check.
the smoke alarm systems,
Check.
and just check everything periodically according to international standard. Then everywhere will be safe for everybody to work safely. Even our roads we are talking about, even in aviation we are talking about. You know, the government have a whole lot to do to put those things into place. Because I have said it over time, the government is more or less like the chief security and safety officer for everybody. When it comes to the Nigerians, it's like a father who is not providing the appropriate instructions and sanctions and floggings and beating of the child. You are spoiling the child. Everybody does or do whatever, come back whenever you wishes, and nobody asks questions. That's the condition we are in. So until we bring in regulation from the head, who have to sign it into law, who is the head, the president of the Federal Republic, then implement it through the relevant arms of government, ministries and agencies,
Right.
who need to implement and carry out those laws and carry out those functions. Of course, many MDAs have their own in the mining sector, in the oil and gas industry, in the agriculture, many of those critical areas. There are embedded agencies who have already formulated their policies and laws, which is okay. But by the time we have a bigger instrument who need to now put all these things into place, come up with a better framework, then you see things will begin to work.
Thank you so much for all this advice. It's always
Thank
very refreshing having you, because we need people like you, this advocacy. We need to
Exactly.
keep shouting it and
Thank you.
speaking. And
Thank you.
hopefully, most probably, that OSH bill might be passed now that we have a new administration. And we
In our last trip to the
focus.
UK,
Yes.
that was in June, we were able to move there with some of the senators in London.
Okay.
And they were able to see, and we have a lot of strategic meeting with the Western regulators in the UK. And I believe they were able to see the need, because that is where my interest was.
Okay, good.
So,
wishing you the best. Unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Thank you.
But we've been speaking with Engineer Emmanuel UWALAKA, a.k.a. the Safety Minister. He's the Regional Administrator, OSH Association, UK and Nigeria. Many thanks once more for being on the program.
Exactly.
And that's how we wrap up today's episode of ASO Morning. But of course, it's Friday tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to sharing my time with Joy and you. So do make a date and then see you tomorrow. I am Ifunanya Yvonne Amafili.
And I am Joy Radimini Asayan. Have a wonderful, productive day.